Hi, this is Michelle Hammond. Welcome to How to Train Your Dog in 10 Days website. So the first thing I want to say is congratulations on your new puppy or new dog. If you've got an older one from rescue, that's really a great thing to do. Most of my dogs have been from rescues. However, this last year I got a puppy for the first time in probably about 25 years, and they take a lot of energy. I kind of thought I would develop this website to kind of help you adjust to the new responsibilities and having a new puppy or dog in the house. And also just to kind of cut down on people getting dogs and then they end up back into Humane Society or abandoned on the street because people didn't understand what they were getting into when they decided to get a dog. If you find yourself in that predicament, please do not drop your dog off at the local park or at a woods or on a dead-end street. Please take it to the Humane Society or some sort of other shelter and just surrender the dog. They don't ask any questions. It's a really easy process. If you don't want to admit that it was your dog and you kind of got in over your head, just say that you found it, and the shelter will be happy to take it and keep it safe and cared for until they can adopt it out and rehome it. So the first thing I want to go over is the fact that when we bring home a puppy, a lot of times everybody's really excited and happy to have the puppy or the dog if you rescue a dog. And so sometimes we don't really take into consideration all the responsibility that comes with the dog. So I just want to kind of go over the fact that dogs or puppies, especially puppies, are big responsibilities. You have to keep them healthy. You have to, provide food and water and walks and play with them, and part of all that comes responsibility. And one of the things that people generally forget when they get a dog or a puppy is that it needs to be trained. It's really hard to enjoy a puppy or a dog that is not trained because they tend to be very destructive. Nobody really enjoys a dog jumping on them or stealing food from their plate or rushing out the door or excessive barking or going on a walk and, you're running, trying to keep up with your dog as it's pulling you every which way. Those just aren't fun for anybody. And it's not good for the dog, and it's not good for you, and it's not good for the relationship or the bond that you're building. So dogs, just by nature, are pack animals, and so they like to have a leader. And you, as their human, are their leader. And from their leader, they expect certain things. One of the things they expect is to be led. That's just really important for their well-being and for their happiness, and for your position in the household, to make sure that you're running your household and your dog is not. And it may be okay while you're at home to kind of have your dog kind of run things. When you're out in public, it becomes a danger to your dog really quickly. It can also get you in trouble with neighbors and parents of other kids if your dog knocks down a kid and they get hurt. So you just want to make sure that you really think about how you're going to train your puppy before you ever even consider getting one. That's the first thing you should kind of think of is, what kind of dog you want and how easy it is to train so that you can get the best relationship going with your dog from the get-go and for a long time to come. So there are a couple of basics to kind of get started with training. The first thing is to know is that until your pup's about 7 weeks old, it really can't be trained. This is its time it's with its mom. It's just kind of learning the new environment. It's usually being weaned from its mom about week 5 or 6, and so that's a training time. And they need a little bit of time to kind of get used to you and your household and the kind of the routine before you really start training. So about 7 weeks is when you should start. One of the first commands you should start with is sit. It's a very easy, basic command, and something that your dog can usually learn within a day, depending on the breed. You never want to demean your dog, yell at it. Dogs have really sensitive ears. They do not like to be yelled at, and they do not respond well. All that's going to do is to teach your dog to be afraid of you and to not trust you, and that will make training 10 times harder. The other thing you need to think about is consistency. So I know everybody wants to train the dog and everybody's all excited, at least for the first couple of days, and all of a sudden people fall off. You need to have one designated person that is going to train the dog and come up with a plan to train the dog. And then if other people want to help with the training, that's fine, but they need to follow the plan. As far as our household, I also teach hand signals to our dogs, because that way, as they age, they can still see me give commands, or if they lose their eyesight, they can still hear me give commands. For sit, I just point my finger, sit. For down, it's a hand down. Off is a hand out. So just simple commands like that. You can come up with your own. Just be consistent and make sure everybody in your household is using the same words and the same commands. So if you're teaching your dog down, that's not really the command you want if you want them off the furniture. What you want when they're on their furniture is off, meaning get off. Down is more for if you want them off the furniture, but then you want them to lay down on the floor next to you. So down is very useful for if you're at a park or a cafe and you want your dog to lie down next to you while you're enjoying a cup of coffee or reading a book. So that's down. Off is completely different. That's when you want them off of something. So just kind of make sure that everybody is using the same words consistently and not to confuse down and off, because that will only confuse your dog. Again, when people are coming into the house, down really isn't the command you want. At that point, you want off because you want them off the people. Off is basically when you want all four paws on the ground. Down is for when you want them to actually lie down, if that helps clarify any. Another important one to teach, I usually teach sit and down first, and then I start with basic stay commands. I start with 30 seconds. And stay commands are essential because as you're coming in and out of the door, or as you're trying to cook, you don't necessarily want your dog up underneath your feet because they can get stepped on and you can trap. It's just not a good thing. So we teach all our dogs to stay out of the kitchen while I'm cooking. They can lay in the dining room, either in a sit or down command, whichever I prefer at the time. Usually it's down because I'm going to be there for a while and I want them to be comfortable. So they stay there until I'm done cooking, and then I release them and they come in and eat their dinner while we're eating our dinner and everybody's happy. The other one to probably teach right away or within the first couple of weeks is don't. This is really important, especially for puppies, because they tend to chew on a lot of things that aren't good for them. So don't just means don't touch it. Just leave it alone. Don't. Firm, but not scary, not yelling. And then right away, as soon as you say don't, have something else in your hand or take them away from the situation and offer them a lot of encouragement and pets, but try to give them something to distract them. So like if they're chewing on a cord, say don't, but then give them a stuffed animal or a rawhide or something like that so that they can get their chewing needs out without chewing on a cord. And eventually they'll learn what the don'ts are and what the okay toys and food are. As far as I'm concerned, the best reward you can give your dog is lots of praise and lots of affection. Dogs really want to make their owners happy. It's just innate in their nature with being pack animals. They want to please their leader. If they please their leader, then they know they are going to be well taken care of and they're in a safe environment. So just from the get-go, establish that you're the leader and that your puppy can trust you for all its needs, and it will be really easy to train and you'll have a great relationship with your dog. There's a couple other commands that we can go over in person: heel, how to fetch, things like that. I try to make classes fun for not only the humans, but for the dogs. One thing that you want to make sure of before you start training is that your dog is well exercised. A puppy that's been pinned up all day cannot go straight from being pinned up into a mindset of being able to be trained. So you're going to want to make sure you give them a good 30 to 45 minutes to kind of run out in the yard, play with you, get something to eat, some water, go to the bathroom, and at that point it's going to be ready to settle in and kind of listen to you, and you can work with them. Start out with your puppy maybe for 5 minutes, depending on the breed. Some breeds have longer attention spans than others, so keep that in mind when working with your dog. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but I just wanted to kind of do a off-the-cuff kind of video just to kind of, so you can see my personality, see how much I enjoy the animals, especially dogs. I have a cat too, but don't tell my dog's probably my favorite. So I think that's it. If you have any questions, I'm offering a free 30-minute session for you to come in and ask me any questions, for me to get to see your dog and get to know your dog. One other thing I want to mention, if you're going to use food rewards, which I do, but my biggest one is praise, because that tends to work the best and also keeps the weight off the dog. So, and I want him to do commands because he respects me and knows that it makes me happy, not because he's going to get fed. But if you want to do food rewards, that's totally okay. It's highly recommended. I would suggest making something very healthy. Peanut butter is good. Just check the label, make sure it doesn't have any ingredients that are no-nos. But what I prefer is I buy my treats from Auntie Vic's. There's no added preservatives. Everything in that treat comes from a grocery store. So like it's real bacon, real cheddar cheese, real carrots, and then she bakes them inside of her home, which has been approved for cleanliness and all that stuff. She has in her own little area. And then that way I know exactly what my dog's getting, and it's not full of a bunch of chemicals and bad products, byproducts. So just be careful what you're putting in your dog's body, because it does affect their health and their longevity. And with preservatives and stuff too, I don't know if you see it in your kids, but I definitely see it in my kids. When he's got something with a lot of preservatives, his attention span goes out the window. It's kind of the same thing with dogs. So just keep in mind, healthy snacks are better snacks. I think that's it. Thank you for joining me for my first video. I promise the next one will be much more logical, for lack of a better word. But I just really kind of wanted just to be myself and not do too much edits, just so you can kind of see my personality, see my energy, and decide if you want to work with me with your pet. So again, welcome to How to Train Your Dog in 10 Days. I look forward to meeting with you. If for some reason I'm not the person for you, I hope you really enjoy the bond that comes between a human and a pet. It's something that just absolutely floors me when I'm out and about, especially since I do some with police dogs. See how attached those dogs get to their owners, even to the point of mourning them when they're lost in the line of duty. So it's something to be treasured and not taken lightly. And again, if you find yourself in a position where you got in over your head or the breed's not a good fit, please do not abandon that dog out in the wilderness by itself, or in somebody's backyard. Please take it to an authorized shelter so the dog can be well taken care of until it can be rehomed. Thank you for your time, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon. Thanks.